My story is just being a hot mess sometimes. My story is just being a hot mess sometimes. Um, you know, it's so funny because the story is unfolding every day. And I think, and what I loved, Julie, I almost did an altar call when Julie was talking because I was like, oh my God, Julie is like calling me out. She's like high achievers. She's like people pleasers. I got my box of tissue right here. I can't even, I don't even, I'm just, I'm like, I am a hot mess. I just realized that when Julie was just talking, I was like, I am a hot mess. So let me tell you, um, and I'll tell you that the reason why we talk about the power of confidence and we talk about, sometimes just admitting and just being there. I thought about this recently because I asked myself, Kim, do you make mistakes? Mistakes. And it really started to make me think about, no, Kim, it's about, do you mistake? Like, do you not take the opportunities of taking up space, of taking your time? Do you miss the takes? And I would love to just sort of share the times where my confidence was supposed to be taken from me based on mistakes. The way that people define mistakes is a missed alignment or even something you end up regretting. But I would love to just kind of bring for consideration and look at mistake, actually a mistake. And I want to basically just get us to sort of look and view at this point of view a little differently. So I'll tell you, I've been a hot mess for a long time. It started at an early age. I remember I'm the middle child of sisters. So you know how that can be, right? And so as a middle child, I had to figure out how to stand out. I mean, because it was the oldest, who everybody knew, and then it's like the baby, right? And then you're just in the middle. No excitement. You came, everybody's kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. And for me at a young age, it was about like standing out, right? And so when you are a girl that starts to explore and take risks and sort of like stand out, you're gonna have some hot mess moments. One big hot mess moment for me was when I was 16. I was at school and I got into an altercation with a guy friend of mine. And from that altercation, I got kicked out of school. This was like my first time really getting in trouble. My first time, really having something that even got called to the principal office for. But they had this zero tolerance. And so I was immediately kicked out of school at 16. And being kicked out of school, it was not just me. My parents invested a lot in me. My parents worked hard for me to, go to school. Like they migrated to Houston from Mobile, Alabama, where they left their family to come start a new beginning for them and their girls in Houston. So my parents invested a lot. So me getting kicked out of school, that's a hot mess. That's the whole family, right? And that's looking like that. And I remember in that moment being like, God, like I really messed up. I made a mistake. I, shouldn't have done what I did. I shouldn't have reacted the way I reacted. And now look at me. I'm in juvenile, like in this, well, they call juvenile on me, but I ended up going to an alternative school and all this stuff. And I'm just like, this is not who I am. This is not who I am. And I started my confidence on all of the wonderful things that I had worked on up until that point. I played the classical piano. I was a cheerleader. I played the keyboard for the jazz band. I had all these things going for me, but all of that just sort of, boom, came down. And I just remember being like, how am I going to come back from this? And how am I going to change other people's view of me? Like, I just was in a fog, and my confidence was at an all-time low. I didn't want to sort of be seen by anybody. I didn't want to talk to any of my friends because I didn't want to answer any questions. I didn't want to talk to my parents' friends. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to be at the park. I didn't want to be anywhere because I didn't want anybody to ask me about what was going on and this and that and have to answer for that. So I kind of went on the inside of me a lot and really lived there. And so I ended up writing down some of my goals because my teacher in my alternative school saw all the frustration on my face. And she said, and she saw my bad attitude I was coming to school with. And she said, you got to write down your 1-year goal. You got to write down your 5-year goal. She's like, because you got to understand, you got something to look towards. So I wrote down my 1-year goal because everybody told me I wasn't going to be able to go to college. They were calling us at risk at this school. They were telling us that we probably wasn't even going to become productive citizens. And so I wrote down this goal of, I just want to get accepted into college. I want to go to Clark Atlanta University. That's a school. That was my dream school. I said, I just want to get accepted into college, a 4-year college. And then in 5 years, I couldn't even think about what I wanted to be when I grew up. All I knew was, I said, I just want to be successful. I just want to be successful. And I remember writing that down. Fast forward 1 year later, I got accepted into Clark Atlanta University. Hallelujah. Okay. Redemption. I got accepted into Clark Atlanta University. I didn't tell anybody I even applied to the school. I just kind of did it on my own. I got accepted. My parents let me go. I went out there. I got loans. I got whatever I needed to attend that school because I got accepted. And I went to that school. And then right after I graduated from college, I opened up my own makeup store, my own makeup shop in my hometown of Houston, Texas, at 21 years old. Remember, I was 16 when I got kicked out of school. 5 years later, I got a letter in the mail from a career day when I opened up my store, maybe a couple weeks into being open, saying, can you come to our career day? At this time, I just turned 22. I'm like, sounds good to me, a career day. Go talk to kids. Well, they'd be interested. So the day of the career day, I look at the address. I said, oh my God, this place is looking familiar. I drive up. It's the alternative school that I went to. So I get out the car, I go inside. I'm like, and they're like telling us how to get around this school. They're like, because it's metal detectors, you can only go in certain areas because a lot of people there, a lot of the kids are on probation, So I'm like, oh, I know how to get around the school. Like, yeah, we can't do this, we can't do that. And they were like, how do you know this stuff? Because I went here. They're like, you went to this school? I'm like, yes. They were like, you went to this school? I was like, yes. I was like, how did you find out about me? They were like, no, they were like, you work at the makeup store? Well, some of the kids have been going to the mall. They've seen that makeup store and they were just saying they want to work in a place like that. They want to be makeup artists, cosmetologists. They want to own a store like that. Whatever it was, they want to work there and they wanted whoever works there to come out. And they were like, you work there and you went here? And then I was like, yeah, I actually own the store. They're like, you own it? So they said they never had anybody in the history of that school who had actually sat in the seats that those kids in that alternative school sat in ever come and speak at their career day. So was it a mistake? Or was it a take? A moment that I had to take in to become who I am today. And then to be there, to take up space and be in front of those kids and take that opportunity to be in front of them so they could see themselves in me. And in that moment, that 5-year goal that I wrote down, I just want to be successful. These kids were telling me I was successful. You're successful. And they saw their future in a different way. And they saw that the comeback could happen for them. They saw that the redemption could happen for them. They saw that if they just forgive themselves, that it'll be okay. They saw that maybe, is it a mistake or is it a different take on life, a different road that I'll have to travel, so one day I can be this for someone else. So my confidence started, I'll tell you, in that moment, it was a defining moment of confidence for me, because after that moment, I never doubted anymore anything that happened in my life. Because in that moment, I knew that at some point, God would allow for it to become full circle, and for it to have purpose. So I invite you today to look over your life and come to peace, so you can have confidence for the rest of your race. All right. Love y'all. Oh, LAMIK Beauty. Make sure you go get you some LAMIK.